everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for the 20 questions book tag. So before I get into the tag, I have a couple of things to say. First of all is that it is the 31st of March when I'm filming this video, but by the time this goes up, it'll be towards the end of Veda, I think. Veda being a video every day in April. I'm not doing a video every day, but I am doing quite a number of videos. I'm doing 5 a week instead of my normal 2. I've been filming a lot today. I think this is my 7th video, so I kind of feel like my brain and my voice are at the point of what it will probably feel like in the middle of Veda as well today, if that makes any sense. So excuse me if I'm a little bit scattered. Yeah. The other thing is that I was absolutely certain that I had done this video already, but I couldn't find it anywhere on my channel, which potentially just means that I didn't look hard enough, and I may end up feeling really stupid at some later point when I go ahead and look again and I'm like, oh, there it is. So if I've done it before, I'm going to link it because, you know, it's potentially quite interesting to see if I have changed my opinions and my thoughts on things, you know, in the 2 and a bit years since I've been doing BookTube. So yeah, that's that. I was tagged by the lovely Victoria from What Victoria Read to do this tag quite recently, so thank you very much, Victoria. I will link her version of the video in the description below, so please do go and watch that video, and also check out Victoria's channel and subscribe to her channel if you haven't already. She is an amazing person and fantastic booktuber, and you will definitely enjoy her content, and yeah, you should definitely go and check her out. I'm not 100% sure who created this originally, but I will find out and I will link their video in the description below as well, so you can go and find the original, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. So basically, this is a bunch of different questions about sort of general bookish stuff and your opinions about general bookish stuff. So yeah, let's just dive in, shall we? Okay, so question number 1 says, how many books is too many books in a series? I think this very much depends on the series, and I guess most of these questions are going to be very much dependent on, I mean, obviously you and your opinions, but the kind of book that you're reading and the kind of books you like to read. So I read a lot of fantasy, I read a lot of long fantasy series, so I don't necessarily think that a really big series is too long, but it very much depends on the series, on the writing, on the author, on where everything's going. But I do think that an example of a series that I think maybe got a little bit away from the author is the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. So this is a series of, I think, 15 books, and all of the books are 700, 800, 900 pages long. It's incredibly immersive, incredibly expansive fantasy series. I think it's really, really good. The problem is that about halfway through, probably about 4, maybe 5 books in the middle of the series, people know as the slog, and it does feel a bit of a slog to read because the books themselves are so long. He has so many characters, so much history, so many different facets of the story, and they're all really interesting and really engaging, but I just think that I just think maybe he created too big of a series or too big of a world for himself to really be able to keep up with. And so reading so much and swapping to so many different characters, and the bigger the world gets, the bigger, broader view you get, the more of a slog it feels. But then it does tighten up and get more fast-paced and interesting later on in the series. To be honest, I haven't finished the series. I was reading them when
I'm afraid I can't do that for you.
Thanks, Siri. I was reading them when they were still being written and still being published, and I kept doing that thing of rereading, and it got to a point where I just kind of was like, I can't reread the slog, and so I never finished it. I really do want to, but it's just such a massive series. There's such massive books. It feels like such a commitment. I don't know if I'm going to. But anyway, I think that series is an example of a series that is too long, but I don't necessarily think that 15 books is too long. It really just depends on the series. I feel like that's a cop-out of an answer, but it's nonetheless how I feel.
Sure thing.
I don't know what I'm saying to activate her, but anyway, it happened in class the other day. But anyway, you don't need to know about that. Question number 2 says, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Again, it really depends on the situation and the book, but in general, I'd say I don't really like cliffhangers at the end of the book. I don't like a book where it's wrapped up, we understand what happened, the general kind of main plot of that book. Even in a series, I feel like books that are in a series, you can still have the kind of main plot of that particular book to be wrapped up in that book, even if the overarching series is still going on, or at least have some things wrapped up. So I don't necessarily like a cliffhanger at the end of a book that is like leaves everything hanging, like literally has the person hanging off a cliff and you're there being like, oh no, are they gonna survive? What's happened? An ongoing series needs to have something that keeps you going and keeps you wanting to know more, and so you'll read the next one. You don't want the entire story wrapped up, but I don't want a genuine like I don't know if they're alive or dead. This is a massive thing and now I have to wait a year for another book. Yeah. So probably not favourably is how I feel about cliffhangers. Question number 3, hardcover or paperback? The thing is that both have, there are pros and cons to both. Hardcovers can be they both can absolutely be stunning. In Australia, we tend to get the more stiffer paperbacks, and I don't like breaking spines if I can avoid it. But sometimes it's really, you can't help it because we do get those stiff paperbacks, so it's quite hard to read, and no matter how careful you are, you can't help but break the spine a little bit. So in that instance, I'd have to say hardcover because I don't like to break the spine, but I can't help it necessarily all the time. If I get a reasonably floppy paperback, I'd much prefer the paperback. They're easier to hold, but yeah, both have their benefits. Question number 4 is favourite book, and I agree with Victoria when I think she said something like, that's really mean, or what a question, or I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically, like, why would you put that in a question for a book lover? And I agree, why would you do that? Because if you're anything like me and Victoria, you don't have a favourite book. You struggle to have a favourite 5 books. So my favourite book is going to depend very much on my mood, what I've just read recently, books that I love that I read recently. So a new favourite will often take the place momentarily of an old favourite, but then, things get re-established the longer since I've read it, and yeah, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But some of my favourite books are Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery, the entire Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, the entire Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb, the entire Mary Russell series by Laurie King, Chocolat by Joanne Harris, and I'm going to stop there because I literally could go on and on. But yeah, that's just some examples of favourite books of mine. Question number 5 is least favourite book. I don't know. That's a cop-out as well, I feel like, but I don't know. I definitely have books that I don't really like, but I tend to try to think more about the books that I've enjoyed. So it's not to say that there are books I don't like, because there are, and I've made videos about books that I don't like, but the ones I end up remembering, the ones I end up thinking about, are the ones I did like, so yeah. But books that I have not liked, you know how I feel about Cassandra Clare. You know how I feel about They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Another book that I didn't like very much was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I didn't like that one very much because I didn't like his writing style very much, but also I felt kind of stupid. I felt like I was really unintelligent. I just felt like I didn't understand what that book was supposed to be about. So yeah, those books. Love triangles, yes or no? In general, no. But that is because I feel like they are not written well most of the time. So any trope that is done well is usually enjoyable, even if it's a trope that I don't love. But I feel like love triangles aren't usually done very well, so I'd say no. The most recent book you just couldn't finish. I'm actually in the middle of, well, not even in the middle of it. I'm reading a book at the moment called Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zuzak, who wrote The Book Thief. And I'm really struggling with it. And I've promised Michelle, if you're watching this, I've promised Michelle that I would at least read up to where she's up to, which is halfway through the book. It's actually right here. And as you can see, I'm not very far into it at all. And I'm just struggling with the writing style, but I can't put it down. But I want to, but I promised I wouldn't. So yeah, I'm going to say that one. Still struggling with it. Number 8 is a book you're currently reading. Well, I'm also currently reading Caravel by Stephanie Garber, and I'm also currently reading Volume 2 of Stand Still, Stay Silent by, I feel awful, I can't remember her name. Last book you recommended to someone is number 9. I feel like I'm a booktuber. I recommend books to people all the time, but I do make a series of books. I do make a series of videos on my channel semi-regularly called Recommending Books to Other Booktubers, where I have specifically recommended specific books to other booktubers. So I'm going to link that in the description below because that is the most recent one that I have done, so that you can get an idea of the sorts of things I recommend. I honestly can't remember 100% who I recommended books to in that one. So there's that. But I actually think I'm going to go with Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I recommended to Paige from Pages with Paige because I recommended that to her at the beginning of the year as part of her Advent calendar thing that she's doing, but she then also got Mel recommends in the Roll of Reads readathon that I did in March. So she picked that one up. So I feel like that was probably the most recent. That was such a convoluted answer. I'm sorry. Did I mention that my brain is a bit fried? All right. So number 10, it says oldest book you've read by publication date. Okay. So I have read quite a few like ancient history classics like the Iliad and the Odyssey, but the editions of the books that I've read would not have been published back then. So it depends on how you view publication date. Originally written and put out into the world, definitely the Iliad or Hesiod's Theogony. But the versions, again, like I said, of those books that would have been published more recently than something like Jess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence, Jane Austen's books. So yeah, it depends on how you're kind of qualifying that, but either the Iliad or Theogony or the Odyssey or Tess of the D'Urbervilles or something like that. The next question is the newest book that you've read. I don't know that either. Gosh, I'm doing really well with this video, aren't I? Think probably, in fact, yes, definitely Crescent City 2, which is just here, if I can get it. House of Sky and Breath, which was published in February. Well, it was released in February this year, so February 15th, February 2022. So yeah, that one, definitely the most recent that I've read. Question number 12, favourite author. I did a video recently, which was my 5 favourite authors. So I'm going to link that in the description below as well, so that you can go and check that out and see what my 5 favourite authors are. Okay, so then it says, question number 13, buying books or borrowing books? Both. Why not do both? Question 14, a book you dislike that everyone else seems to love. So I've mentioned before a number of times how much I didn't like The Both at the End by Adam Silvera. Definitely don't like The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. I'm just going to leave it there. Those books. Moving right along. 15, bookmarks or doggies? Bookmarks, definitely, 100%. Bookmarks. Question number 16, a book you can always reread. Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I reread it. Well, I think I'm due a reread of it. I reread it like once a year or once every year and a half or something like that. Yeah, that one. Question 17, can you read while hearing music? Yes, I can. Definitely. Question number 17, can you read, question number 18, one POV or multiple POVs? So point of view, both. I like books in general. I have to say multiple though. I love a book that has many different perspectives. I also really enjoy the books that have multiple perspectives and multiple timelines. That's probably one of my favourite types of books to read from the point of view perspective. Question number 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? For the most part over multiple days, partly because I don't read that fast and partly because I just, you know, there's too much going on. I can't just sit and read for an entire day as much as I might want to. So for the most part it's going to be over multiple days. Very occasionally I do get a book that I just cannot stop reading and that I just don't, and I let myself, but that's very, very, very rare. Okay, so final question, question number 20 is who do you tag? So I'm actually going to look through my subscriptions list and see who has uploaded a video recently and tag those people. So the first person is Darian from Darian Reads, so I'm tagging Darian. The next person is actually Jessie from Bowties Books, but Jessie did this tag, that's why Victoria did it, so I won't tag Jessie. Then we have Amy from AStar Reads, so I tag you. Then we have Steph from Noveltea Corner, so I'm going to tag Steph. Next up we have Ashley from Ashley's Media Addiction. Some of these are reading sprints, by the way, so I will tag Ashley. And then finally I will tag Connor from Connor Stompanato. So yeah, you're tagged as well. So all those people, you are tagged. If you'd like to do the tag, I would love to see your answers, so please let me know. If you did not get specifically tagged but you want to do the tag, then consider yourself tagged. But yeah, that's everything from me for this tag. So please comment below what you thought about my answers. Did you like them? Did you not like them? Do you agree with me? Would you have said something different? Etc. and so on. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me, what will we leave? Just leave me the book emoji because we're talking about book stuff. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.